Hello everyone, it's me, Hamad Al Amari. Thank you very much for having me as a speaker with your event. I hope that I add a little value. Today's topic is the title is Why We All Hate Change. And as I was researching and trying to write and understand what I'm going to say in terms of how I can add value, I realized that change was very, very close to me in my life right now. Every single moment, it seems like something's changing. But at the core of it all was, I didn't feel like I feared it. I didn't feel like I resisted it. I didn't feel like I was uncomfortable with it. And the more I thought about that, the more I realized that this became something that is a result of behavior over time. Now, I'm not going to say that I never hated change or I never feared change. I did a lot. Growing up, it's been something that is always constant in my life, whether it was changing schools, changing country, changing your lifestyle, changing your friend circle, changing a lot of changes happening to me while we were growing up, moving from one country to the next. And that left a lot of things in place for me, and it allowed me to, now that I'm older, it allowed me to kind of look back on it and say, if I didn't have those experiences, I would not know what change looks like. I would not know what it feels like to go through change that's forced on you. We were younger. I didn't have a choice in most of the changes. You were with your family. Your father makes a decision. Your mother makes a decision. We're moving to another country. Boom. That's it. You're there. Deal with it. So these big changes in my life from a young age allowed me to, react to change in a certain way. Over time, did I develop an immunity to it? No one can develop an immunity to change. So what constitutes change in the first place? It could be something that is so minute, something so tiny, or something that's so huge, like changing your country or your place of work or your livelihood or career. But it also could be something like moving from one house to another house that's not so far away. Or changing a routine in your life, changing hours of work, changing the dynamic of your work, changing the number of people in your family. Little things like that can cause so much anxiety and so much pressure. And it's at the end of the day, you are the individual, and how you deal with change is what I'm going to hopefully be able to list in this video. So what constitutes change is something that is out of your comfort zone. So if you're stuck to a routine or familiar with every routine day or things in certain places that you always have in check, and they move out of that comfort zone or out of that area where you are familiar with it, it's change. Now, when people say, I hate change, why? Why do we hate change? Because it's uncomfortable. Because change is not something that we are okay with. And I'm going to try and list some of the reasons why we don't like these changes, or why most people are not okay with making changes. Now, the first reason, if you look at it, is biology. Biology and evolution and what we learn, we are programmed for survival, and that gives us adrenaline. And when something happens, we have this caveman instinct to just jump and, fight or flight type of reaction. So that today is, when something changes, it gives us this feeling of anxiety, or something, your body is in attack mode. You're running away from something. It's very uncomfortable. It causes stress, and it causes anxiety, and it causes all sorts of discomfort. And because we associate that to our discomfort, we stop liking change. When something changes, we become so uncomfortable, and we stop thinking about it in what it could be in a positive sense. Our first instinct is to look at the adverse effects of anything that will change for us. So it's in us. And today, in the world of technology and mass information, mass communication, with social media tools especially, putting yourself out there and asking for help, or asking or sharing moments online generally tends to bring a lot of negativity. So that also makes us kind of shrink into our own little hole, and we don't want to share anything because we're fear of what people might say, or what this thing that we will do or share with the world will have an adverse impact on us. So the tendency is that, you know what, I'll stay in my zone. I will stay here. I will not open up to the world. I will not share anything with the world because I'm comfortable. I know this is my safe place. But that's, if there's anything that is constant, it is change. You will have to deal with change at some point in your life. And sometimes you have to embrace that feeling, You have to embrace it and understand why you are afraid of this change, or why this change is going to have an adverse effect on you. And that's the first, I think, reason we're biologically programmed to be uncomfortable when it comes to change. Secondly is when you have bad experiences. So for example, when I was younger, we moved from one country to the next, and we went from one school to another country, and we went from one school to the other. And I didn't have a really good time, and it wasn't very easy for me to change schools. It was not an easy moment in my life. It was not something that was fun, easy, made a lot of friends. No, it was complete opposite of that. It was very hard to get associated, become friends with people, and it was very difficult to become a member of this school, and that leaves a bad memory. It has a bad experience in my past. So for years after that, anytime I went to change from one school to the next, or even go from middle school to high school, that feeling was always there, that anxiety, that stress, that oh no, I'm so terrified, I don't want to do this. There were days where, you could ask my mom, God bless her for dealing with me, but there were days where I would not want to go to school. It's just not going to happen because of these past experiences. So sometimes our resistance to change is because of an experience that we've had in the past that just leaves a memory, a lasting memory with us. So we don't like change because of that experience. So we tend to attach all of that negative sentiment or that experience to hating, to the new experience that is going to be change, and we end up hating the change, and we're so against it, and we block off ourselves from experiencing something new. So secondly, it would be having previous bad experiences. Thirdly, it's people around you. When you are not surrounded by the right kind of people, you tend to ingrain certain beliefs into yourself, and you have these beliefs put into you by older brother, a mean uncle, a cool friend, and they'd have statements, or they would make you believe something like, oh, nothing ever good happens to me. I'm never going to try this because nothing ever good happens to me. I'm not going to go to this university because I'll never get in because nothing good ever happens to me. Or I will not go to another university or I'll not go to another country to study because I'm not someone who is good at socializing. I'm antisocial. There is a limit to what you have to believe what people tell you. You can't just I understand there's a long time of things happening where people will say, oh, this guy's jinxed, or this guy's nothing ever good happens to him. He's such bad luck, stay away from him. But all of these things then add up and accumulate over time. So if you were thinking about change, well, having these bad beliefs or these moments in the past that are haunting you, that characterize your way of thinking, then you cannot become a person who is comfortable with change. You know, you will never experience change, and you will succumb to the fact that you will not, you'll be stuck in this rut, and you will let people around you who don't necessarily always have your best interest at heart. It might be a snide comment or a little joke here and there, but those things cut deep, and that could cause people from being very against change. You know, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something that you need to experience, and something that is an experience that you will never have because of staying confined to your space. So when it comes to changing your career, applying for a new job, moving to a new country, whatever the decision is, if you have people who have been telling you and that you are not worthy, or that you are not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you put this bad belief on yourself over a couple of experiences that you've had, as we've said in the past, then you become someone who has bad beliefs about you and yourself. And that is definitely something that will only add to the fact that you will not embrace change, and you'll be, you won't be able to push forward to get to the results that you want. And if you do not look within yourself and understand that this is probably something that is going to stop me from developing and stop me from becoming the best version of myself, then you will not be ready for change. Another reason is, and this is something that is very, very common, is fear of failing. Now, failure is we give it too much credit. Oh, you'll fail. Oh, this guy's a failure. Oh, but we give it too much credit. You know, I've failed 17 times today. From my experiences, you have to go through these failures. As an entrepreneur, when you're looking at developing a solution, or developing or fixing a big problem within your community or society, or coming up with a new idea or product, you have to go through so many failures. You know, you have to prove your concept in order for it to be successful. If you're not okay with change, if you have a goal that you are willing to work hard for, and you're uncomfortable with change, you'll never achieve that goal. Because once the goal is very clear, everything kind of puts you, if the goal is simple, clear, and you know where you're going, everything else will point you towards that goal. Everything around you will push you towards achieving that. And that will mean that there's a lot of change. Whether it's coming up with a new code, or testing a new version of the software, or going through your 17th version of the product design, or a new logo for rebrand, or whatever it is that you're doing, you cannot be afraid of failing. Failing is only something that lets you learn. If you don't fail, you'll learn nothing. And if you learn nothing, you're just not going to get smarter. And if you're, if it's not change that's allowing you to become better and better and better, then you'll be stuck again in this position where you're immovable, and you're never really going to grow, and you'll never achieve any goals that you set out. So fear of failing is something that is, very common, whether it's on a personal level, or a business level, or an individual level, whether it's with your family, or between you and yourself, feel like, oh, I'm not going to make these changes. I'm not going to take that step because I know I'm going to fail, without ever really trying. So fear of failure is a big reason why we hate change. Another reason is being comfortable in a rut. So we know we're in a bad place. We know we're in a unhealthy routine. We know we're in a job that's not getting us anywhere. We know that we're probably in the wrong course. We know that we're probably not meant to be in this circle. You're uncomfortable, but you're okay with it. This is kind of a, fear of failing. You get into this system, or you're in this loop of being comfortable and stagnant in that position. And this is the rut, what I call. If you're in a rut, you'll never be okay getting out of it, because the first thing that you have to do is realize, oh, I'm not comfortable here and I want to become better. And the only way I'm going to get better is if I implement some changes. But why do we not implement those changes? Because really we're afraid and we are okay in the position that we're in. Oh, I'm not going to go anywhere in this career, in this job, but I'm okay. It's paying the bills. I'm making $130,000 a year. I'm unhappy. I have 3 kids and a mortgage and whatever excuses you come up with in order for you to kind of settle on the fact that you're unhappy and not willing to make the step to evolve and get better at the next step in life. Whether it's developing, going out on your own, seeking that promotion, none of those things will happen if you're comfortable within the state that you're in. And sometimes you make excuses. So if you're in this job and you've been there for 7 years and you go, oh, I can't leave because I've been here for 7 years. No, it doesn't mean that, you start giving false validations, or validating or paying attention to the things that keep you in this state of comfort. You have this routine of sleeping late and playing games online or Netflix all night until 4 a.m. And then, some people have these bad habits where you're just comfortable with them. Deep down inside that it's okay. You're not hurting anyone immediately, but in the long run, you are hurting yourself. And if you have these bad routines coupled with bad beliefs and you're comfortable with the rut, of course change is going to be scary. Of course you want to cling on to the space around you. So that's another reason why we are very uncomfortable with change, is that we're comfortable with being in this rut. Now when it comes to change, you have to understand that you're not going to do it alone. Okay? And that's a good thing and a bad thing. Why? Because you should ask for help. The first part of it is realizing that you're unhappy, or realizing that you're uncomfortable, or realizing that this state of mind or physical state that you're in, the routines, if you feel like you're not the best version of yourself and you see something on the horizon that is a hope or a dream, you will not accomplish that if you're not getting out of this rut. So you need to have people, and people that you ask for help, people that you can ask for advice, whether it's a tutor, a mentor, a friend, a psychotherapist, a life coach. All of these people can help you get to the results that you want to get to. And if you are someone who is asking for help and not getting it, that was the timer. I think I have 2 minutes left. If you're not asking these people for help, the other side of it is you're worried what these people will think of you. If you do ask them for help and you don't want to commit, then you become, there's this thing of like, oh, if I tell them, then what are they going to say about me if I don't commit? So you end up putting yourself in the same position where you're stuck in this rut again, and you're stopping yourself from changing. So we all know that change is evident, change is gonna happen, but when we're in this space, we have to make sure that we take the first step. And it doesn't mean that it's, a radical change. Every little bit at a time will help you get to make those changes. And finally, you have to get to a point where understanding that change is not just uncomfortable. Okay? It is you being comfortable with being uncomfortable in that cycle. So if I know that I have tasks that I need to finish, and I know that I have things that I need to do in order to achieve a goal, and I have a team of people, and those people are changing, that's okay, because I know that it's part of the cycle, and I have to be okay with people changing, location changing, ideas changing. That all of that cycle of change is uncomfortable, but you get to a point where you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that fear of failing and staying in the rut, it's this cycle. And I like to associate it with constantly acquiring knowledge. Every experience that I have allows me to learn more, whether it's, it's just always adding value to me as an individual, and hopefully to anyone around me who is sharing those moments with me. So finally, before I run out of time, if I can say it, just one closing line: success is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it never gets easier, but you get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I will leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein, which is, "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change." And I hope what I've shared today has given some kind of idea of why we're uncomfortable with change, and why change is such a big thing that we're all afraid of. But again, it's not meant to be easy, otherwise everyone's going to be doing it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I look forward to engaging with you on some other platform soon. Cheers. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.